Mile High apple pie is all about the apples and the crust. Flaky and light, encasing a big pile of 3 different kinds of apples. In order to learn how to make the best pâte brisée, you should really just follow the golden rules. Make it cold, bake it hot, and if possible, use a food processor. And so it's 2½ cups of all-purpose flour, 1 teaspoon of salt, and you can just pulse that so the salt is evenly distributed. Even the salt can be cold. And 2 sticks of butter, and it should be cold and hard for this process of cutting the butter into the flour. And we're going to measure ½ cup of iced water. So you want to pour your water while you pulse on the outside of your tube. So it looks like it's pretty much done. Okay, so just wrap this in a flat round in a piece of plastic wrap, and that is going to roll into 1 good pie crust. You need 2 of these. And now we're going to use our first batch of pâte brisée for Mile High apple pie. Today we're using different kinds of apples from Breezy Hill Orchards up in Staatsburg, New York. Jana Gold, these big red-tinged apples, very tart, very nice. Mutsu, these are large with a lot of deep flavor. And we're also adding to the mix today Granny Smiths. We're using 5½ pounds of apples in this one pie. And we're going to also add to the apples, to keep them from turning brown, the juice of 2 lemons. I'm cutting off the tips of the lemons because they squeeze better in this handy tool that we use. Okay, so there. Now the apples also get 1 cup of sugar. And we're going to just sprinkle that over. And 2 teaspoons of cinnamon. And a little pinch of salt. And 1/3 cup of flour. Just all-purpose flour. Now, if you use a metal spoon, you might break up your apple, so I suggest using either your hands to toss the fruit or a big rubber scraper like this. And so you're distributing all those lovely ingredients throughout the apples. Perfect. Ready for the filling. So now we have a nice crust rolled out to a little less than 1/8 of an inch thick. And then to get it into the bottom crust, just roll it up like this on your pin. And having a good rolling pin is important too, a big enough pin. So look how nice this looks. Put in the apples. You know, these are going to cook down a little bit. They're going to get tender, and they will make a most exquisite pie. There. Oh, and before I forget, dot your pie filling with a little bit of unsalted butter. Okay, so here we have our crust for the top. And I think so that we have no chance of breakage, I'm going to just roll this on my rolling pin. This is a very good method for lifting up a delicate crust. Once you form your crust, crimp your edges, we're going to re-chill the pie in the refrigerator for about 20 minutes. You need a pair of scissors, and I'm just going to cut off the excess. Leave 1/2 inch or so hanging over the edge of the dish. Now watch, you're going to turn this over. Work fast because the pastry does soften up. That's nice. And now if you want to cut a few vent holes in the top, good idea. There, just little slits like this. Oh, and now crimp the edges. There's various ways to crimp. You can use these 2 fingers and your thumb of your other hand. My mom used a fork. Whatever's your favorite way of making a pretty decorative edge. Okay, so now, from your leftover pastry, I'll make a couple decorations for the top. and vein the leaves with the back of your little paring knife. Chill these 20 minutes. We're ready to glaze the top of the pie. So the pie is nicely chilled. Let's apply the branches and leaves using water as your glue. Water works remarkably well in making sure that the pastry adheres to the other pastry. And just put on your leaves. That looks very nice. We're ready to glaze the top of the pie. We are going to use 1 egg yolk and 2 tablespoons of water. And use a soft bristle brush to not tear your pastry or to make marks on your beautiful pie. Work quickly because you want to get this cold pie into a hot oven, preheated to 450 degrees for 15 minutes. You'll then lower that temperature and bake the pie until it's done. That may take an hour, it may take an hour and 15 more minutes, but it's essential that the juices in the middle of the pie are bubbling. So see now, I'm just sprinkling a light sprinkling of this sparkly sugar. So get it in the oven and set your timer. Now this apple pie took 1 hour and 35 minutes to bake. The way I can tell the apples are done is with a bamboo skewer, and you can just go into one of the vent holes and push down through the pie. I meet no resistance, meaning the apples are cooked. And the crust itself is glistening with that sanding sugar. The pie looks done.